Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're here at Southfield for the 3-day Anthony Nolan charity match, and this is a very popular event. Takes place at Southfield Reservoir every year. There are usually 60 competitors. That's normally the sellout. However, there have been one or two dropouts, so today we've got 54 anglers competing. We're going to compete over the next 3 days, and we actually rotate through 3 different zones, and this competition has actually raised £16,000 up to now over the last few years for the Anthony Nolan Cancer Trust. So I've just had some breakfast. I'm going to head in now, draw a peg which is random to start with, but then over tomorrow and the following day I will rotate through the other 2 zones. Morning, Trev.
Morning, Jim.
Morning. This will be a good one. This will be a good one. Trev will fancy that one. 54, Jamie Harrison.
54, Jim. Well drawn, Jamie.
Am I up on grass?
Yeah, it's all open for you.
Lovely, thank you very much. Peg 54. Not been up there for quite a while. It's actually up through the gate that they're actually now open now. They open the gate, you can drive up there, but the grass is very, very soft. So I'm going to have the van behind me up there, but it's that top zone. So just going to get Dad out of the pub, and I'll see you up at the peg. Well, the gate's open today, which is nice, which has meant we've been able to drive through the gate and up here onto the grass. I'm somewhere here. The wind's gonna hit me in a minute, no doubt. There we go. The wind's virtually straight in. Peg 54, bang on. Well, the sun's finally broken through those clouds. It is windy up there, up on the bank, but I'm going to do my very, very best to make sure the audio quality is all right for you. I'm going to head up there now, just show you my kit and everything, show you the peg, and just to give you a bit of background about this event. It's a 3-day event, and basically the winner is going to be determined on section points. So if you win your section, you get 1 point. So the lowest score wins, and because I'm at this top end today, that means that tomorrow I'm going to be over in the very well known woods section, which is an area that can throw up big weights. So I'm over there tomorrow, and then the final day I will be on the middle zone, just a little bit further down the bank. So I'm going to take you up, quickly show you the peg and everything. Like I said, I'm going to make sure the audio is all right for you, but the wind is hacking straight into us. There we go, told you. So there we go, all my gear's set up and everything. Measuring sticks are there, I've already sticked up and everything. So there's the peg, and as you can see, that wind's coming straight in. So basically, I'm going to fish 2 lines, simple as that. You know, I haven't been coming here. Most of these anglers here are all regulars. I've got one of the most consistent anglers here, Trevor, at the next peg. Gives a wave, Trev. There he is, he's at the next peg. When the bream are feeding, Trev is super consistent on here at catching bream, but it hasn't been fishing great over the last couple of weeks, I'll be honest with you. So I haven't been coming. I'm going to stick to 2 lines, simple as that, and I may find that I'm going to be rotating them, trying to pick off fish on the visit back onto that line. So after I've rested it, the plan is to go back onto that line after a rest, and hopefully that's when I'm going to pick off fish. That's the target. So let me just quickly show you the rods and everything, because people will want to know. Basically, well, it's all new setup for you. So I basically got the new Horizon Ultra Pro Slim, 11 foot. I've got that with 010 submerge on there, and that's just got a 1 meter shock leader on that. So that's for my short line. at 20 metres, and then the other one is here. This is, again, it's the Horizon Ultra Pro range rod. The distance, the 12 foot, and that's coupled with the new 5000 HX Pro reel. Fantastic bit of kit, and that's clipped up at 50 metres. And then I've got another one there, but that's the 13 foot version with the new 6000 reel, and that is just in case that wind gets even stronger than it is right now. Now, one of the key changes that I've made the decision on already is, from past experience on this venue, you can see the direction of the wind, it's coming straight into us. From past experience on here, you know, I'm probably, target weight today is probably 10 pound, you know, it might not even be anywhere near that. This top section, I've seen one with 5 and 6 pounds. So obviously we're hoping it's going to be better than that. But in my experience, when you've got a wind like this, it's amazing how many times you can be sat there and your rig's just tangled, or it's just not working properly because of this wind, because it's coming straight into you. So I've already made the decision on my longer lines to switch them to helicopter rigs, just because I know they're not as, you haven't got as much finesse as a free running rig, which is what I prefer. However, I want to be sat there knowing that my rig's working. I'd rather be sat there knowing that my rig's not tangled, so that I'm maximising the amount of time that I'm actually fishing, because we're after so few bites. But I have got a free running rig on the other short line at 20 metres, just because I'll get away with that, because, you know, we're not casting as far. And that's it. The bait tray's empty at the minute. I'll talk you through all that. Let me just go back down the bank. So we are fishing 10:45 until 4. And like I say, target weight wise, you know, you could be looking at 5 or 6 pound for this top section. You could be, but it could be much better than that if one or two better bream are going to feed. Bait wise, I've got some worms, as you can imagine. I've got some dead red maggots, and I've got some pinkies, and that is it. I'm not going to have anything else on my side tray, so I'm going to be chopping the worms. I've got some maggots, and then I've got some live pinkies as well. I'm going to kick off nice and confident, you know, fishing for bream. So I'm going to start off with a size 14 finesse feeder hook to 0.14 soft steel. There's a 50 centimetre hook length rule here as well, so you can't have a hook length shorter than 50 centimetres. And that's it. I'm going to start long. I'm going to put a little bit of bait in at 20 metres to start with, not much, and I'll explain about how I plan on fishing that. But I really think that short line is really, I'm going to be kind of feeding it 20 minutes before I go on it. You know, I don't want to pile loads of bait in on it and then leave it for an hour and a half, 2 hours, because you just don't know if you've had a visit or not, you know, whilst you've been on your long line. So I'm going to treat the 20 metre line like an impact line, if that makes sense. So I'm going to focus long at 50 metres and then just kind of set that 20 metre line up 15-20 minutes before I go on it. And I really think that resting lines might be the way to go today, I think, but we'll find out. The other bait that I didn't mention was, I've got some lovely red worms there for the hook. Brilliant bream bait. Well, the wind's got stronger, just like typical Southfield. It's coming straight into us now. Hence, that's why I switched to those helicopter rigs. Just going to chop a few worms. We're a few minutes to the off. Like I say, I'm not sure what the audio is going to be like today, but whatever happens, I will capture everything I can for you, even if it means a few subtitles every now and then. But when the wind's like this, I mean, look at it, it's blowing straight in now, you know, it just looks ideal. You just think you'd empty it, especially close in, but it just doesn't always happen like that, you know. It's so unpredictable, this venue. So yeah, the first thing is obviously just to get a bite, catch a fish. That's the main thing. And just be patient, you know. We're going to be fishing until 4 o'clock, and as we see on all of the matches on here, it literally can go right to the wire, you know. And I once won a match here in my last 3 casts, you know, 3:45. I've had 3 and 3 casts, and that's been enough to win the match. So everybody's going to be right in it. That's the one good thing about this, you know. If you're only thinking you're going to need, say, 3 bream, there might be some smaller fish there today as well, we don't know. You know, everybody's right in it. Everybody's right in it, you know, because you only need 2 or 3 fish late, and that could be enough to get you the points that you need. So I've got a few worms chopped there. Just tip them into that sieve. There we go. And then, like I say, I'm gonna put a couple of feederfuls out long at 50 metres to start with. Then I'm going to feed that 20 metre line, and then I'm going to kick off at 50 metres, and then just see what reaction we get and see what happens, see if there are any fish being caught. The good thing about this venue is that, as you can see right the way down either side, either bank, so you get an idea of what's been caught, and you can also see what lines people have caught on as well, which obviously can help you out if you're struggling or if you're just trying to find a fish. Always wet your braid. What's that done? So the ground bait, I've already said, F1 green. In case you're wondering what that is a rock. That's just to stop that wind getting old. Sometimes the wind on here, it can be really severe. We've seen it smash keep nets and all sorts. It's just putting a rock in there just helps keep this stuck down, just in case that wind does get really strong. Just can save any sort of accidents. Bait tray, I've got a selection of feeders. I'm going to be trying different feeders throughout the day. Got my red maggots there, got some pinkies. Probably going to kick off with a couple of pinkies on the hook. Is that it? That's it. Good luck, lads. Got the ground bait, got some chopped worm here, and then got the red worms. So what I'm going to do is just get a feeder full out there. I thought I'd need a 30 gram feeder on this, but I've just stepped it up to a 40 gram, just to make sure. Just watching where the lads are going either side. It's gone better than I thought, that one, to be fair. Check that out. I think the wind's going to stay pretty much the same, but I have got some heavier feeders ready to go if I have got to step it up. So this one's got some bait in it now, a bit of worm and some of those dead reds. Just okay, that feeder. I might punch it a tiny bit harder when I get the hook length on, just to make sure it straightens that hook length out. And put one more with some bait in. These new 5,000 reels are ideal for this. That's what they're built for, you know. Like I say, I've got the 13-foot version set up there if I need to switch that up if the conditions get worse than this, but it is there ready to go. Just putting this one more in, and that's it on this line. I'm going to feed, just watching the lines that other anglers are on around me, and I can feed that 20 metre line. Like I said, that 20 metre line, I think it's going to be more of a, that actually plugged in. That we know the bottom's soft out there, that actually plugged in then, which wasn't very nice, stuck in the bottom. Yeah, this 20 metre line, I think I'm just going to treat it today more like an impact line. I'm going to put some food on it now, but I think it's going to be more about feeding it just before I go on it. It just feels as though that might be a better way of doing it today, but we'll find out. Like I say, the thing on this venue is that I can see right the way down, you know. I can see what's been caught and where and what, you know, what lines and everything. So I'm just gonna this is 20 metres, this one, on the slim, just a tiny bit to the right. Just going to offset that slightly. I'm not going to put loads of bait in on this, because like I said, I'd rather try and feed it just before I go on it. But I am just going to put something in on it now, just so that there is something there in case I want to have a look on it in this first half hour. If I don't get anything on that, on my longer line, it means I could have an early look on this if I wish. And put one more in with a few dead reds, tiny bit of worm. It's just somewhere for me to go if I want to have an early look on it in half an hour or so. I can put that down now, pop that back on the roost, and get this hook length on this one. Just double check that hook length. Yep, we're okay. One thing you'll remember is when you're fishing with a helicopter rig, if your hook lengths are all tied to 50 centimetres, then effectively your hook length is shorter than 50 centimetres below the feeder. because you've got the little link, haven't you? So it's just something to be careful of. And we'll just settle in then to probably have a 10-minute cast, the first cast I think, just while we're settling. Yeah, the feeder's just nice there, 40 grammer, pop that down. I think I'm going to have a 10-minute cast now. I'll set that stopwatch and we're away, that's it. The tow can really be strong on here, you know, it's not very deep out there, it's probably only 4 feet deep, absolute maximum. So you can get a lot of tow on here, really strong, so that's usually reflected in the tip choice. However, we've got that wind coming into us today. And when it's coming into you like this, it's turning over that way, so it's coming towards you and then away from you. So when you get the wind coming straight at you, more often than not, there's very little tow, or what tow there is actually going away from you, if that makes sense. It's not like when it's left to right, and that's when you get the tip bent right around. But this is a 2-ounce tip. I changed that tip this morning when I saw the conditions. It's a 2-ounce tip, and the bites on here, you know, more like carp bites sometimes, and you tow the rod in, if we're going to get some, that is. So I'm going to settle in now, 10-minute cast. I think everyone's just about fed all their lines now. Trevor's just feeding his pole line now, and that's it now. I'm just going to give this a good half hour and see what happens, and see if anything gets caught in this section. Well, I'm just at the end of my third 10-minute cast. I haven't had any indications whatsoever. Looking right the way down that way, I haven't seen any fish caught whatsoever anywhere, left or right. Trevor's just shipping his pole out now. I think he's checking the depth, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 anglers already on the pole line now. So I haven't seen any fish caught. So I think what I'm going to do, that obviously means I've had lots of bait go out there onto that long line. So what I'm going to do now is just give it a rest. I'm going to have an early look on that 20-metre line, just to, well, 2 reasons. Obviously, one, to have a look on it, see if we can get a bite, and secondly, the main reason is really just to rest this long line. There's some bait out there now, so I'm just going to rest that. I mean, the bait isn't touched, you know, no indication whatsoever, so just going to rest that line now and have a look on this short line. This one has got a free running rig on it, so I can just simply use one of my 50cm hook lengths, because this isn't a helicopter rig, this one, so I have got somewhat tied up here exactly 50cm. So I'm just going to have a little look on this line. Like I say, we haven't seen the fish caught anywhere, so at this stage it doesn't really make a lot of difference where I'm spending my time, but I just want to rest that long line. I've been quite positive with the feed on that line, to be absolutely honest. You know, to say we might be only fishing for a couple of bites, I've been quite positive, just because I want to give myself a chance of catching any fish that might come through the peg. You know, I think sometimes if you haven't got, or you've hardly got any bait there, if you do get a couple come into your peg, I just think sometimes if you haven't got any bait down there, or very little, it just doesn't hold them quite long enough for a couple of fish. But it's just confidence, that's all it is. So just going to wet that braid up a little bit. Hopefully this rig will be all right casting into this wind. Just got a nice little it's really 2-all, but it's 20 gram feeder there, just a nice little discreet feeder. And that's basically because if there is a fish there over that bait that I put in at the start, the last thing I want to do is spook it or scare it. So I just need to slightly adjust that feeder arm down a little bit. That's it. So this is 20 metres, this one. I have to hit it a bit harder than normal. That's it, just to straighten that hook length out against that wind. Now this is a lighter tip, it's a 3/4 ounce tip, this one. And then that's it. So this is a free running rig, 50cm hook length. You know, I mean, I can see the lads on the pole. Obviously the pole lads, if they are catching anything, you're going to hear them shipping in and out and see them, but I haven't seen anything caught yet. So We expect it to be a slow start. But like I said, we're going right the way through till 4 o'clock, and it's going to be tight all day. You know, it's not the kind of venue where any one person is just running away with it. You know, it just tends to be odd fish, and you're picking up your fish. You know, it's either in spells or you're just picking up the odd fish throughout the session. Well, we are 90 minutes in, and I haven't seen a single fish caught. We knew it was going to be a slow start, or it's what we expected, but I thought we might have seen, you know, 2 or 3 fish caught by now. All those anglers that were fishing pole, nearly everybody's gone back in now, brought it in and gone back out on the feeder, so they're not catching. So I haven't seen or heard of a single fish caught. I went out about 10 minutes ago, a double maggot on, and had a little rattle. Looked like a little fish rattle, and when I picked up there was nothing there, but when I've come in, one of the maggots has gone over the point of the hook. So that was obviously a bite, a fish, but I'm suspecting it was just one of those small fish. But we expected it being a slow start. That wind keeps coming stronger, and then every now and then it dies down a little bit, but I haven't had to change anything. My tip and everything's set all right for the tow that we've got on here. Everything's all right. Everything's, you know. Like I say, all I'm going to do is just rotate these 2 lines. I'm currently back out at 50 metres. That's where I had that bite. Every now and then I'll keep dropping in onto 20 metres just to give this longer line a rest, and obviously, you know, I could pick a fish up at 20 metres, especially when that wind's blowing in like this. It looks ideal to catch short, doesn't it? Really does, but it just doesn't work like that on here. So everybody's still in it. We are 2.5 hours in. I've literally just seen the first fish caught. It was about 1, 2, 3 anglers to my right. It's just had a skimmer. Looks as though it's about ½ pound. So after 2.5 hours, that's the first fish we've seen caught on the feeder. I'm not sure what line he's on. I still keep topping up that 20 metre line. I've had a couple of looks on it again, and I haven't had a sign on that side, on that line. Nothing at all. But when it's like this, you know, there is a strong argument for not changing lines. You know, that's one way that I like to fish on here in winter. You just fish one line long, so that if you are going to get a visit over your bait by any fish, then you're already on that line, aren't you? So there is an argument for that. So I would be quite tempted to spend more time on this longer line. Yeah, that fish was long. It was 45 metres plus, that sort of range. Might be so yeah, long, but like I say, it's one fish. You know, you can't really go looking for patterns when there's only been one fish caught, can you? So I'm sticking with this for now. I am spending a bit longer on this line than I would do normally. You know, every 20 minutes, ½ hour, I'd put it down and have a look on the 20 metre line, but I just feel as though if I stay on this line and I'm going to get a visit, I'm going to be on it when the fish are there, or a fish is there, or a bream is there. And that's my thinking at the moment, but it's just gone 1:15. So we've seen a fish caught, but obviously, you know, I can't really go changing anything now because, you know, there's just, we haven't seen another fish caught. I can see right the way down to my left. So I'm just keep doing what I'm doing, just trying not to chase it, you know, and just keep a bit of bait going in, rotating hook baits, and hopefully I'm going to find a fish.
This is lit.
Well, we actually found one. How about that? We're off the mark. What time is it? It's just gone 1:30. Not really encouraging. That had only been out there 2.5 minutes. Brilliant. We're off the mark. So I'm still on that long line. Like I say, I've just spent longer on that line than normal. When I say longer on it, longer spells on it. I think that's the right way of saying it. I spent longer spells on it than I normally would. You know, I'm not changing as quick as what I would probably usually do, just because, like I said, you know, it's fishing so hard. I thought if I'm going to get a visit out on that long line, which is the main line I expect to get one on, you know, because they've been saying there's hardly been any fish caught short all year. Even though that wind's blowing in, it looks ideal. They just haven't been catching many fish short. So my confidence is in that long line. And thankfully that's paid off. But like I say, I've been having shorter casts as well. Now I don't know if this, you know, makes any difference whatsoever. But rather than leaving it 10-15 minutes like some people are doing, I've gone the other way and I've been having 5-minute casts. I don't know if it makes any difference whatsoever. It's just sometimes I just think I like to try and make something happen even when it's fishing hard. But anyway, we've got a fish in the net, which is fantastic. We are into the final 90 minutes, and as you can see, the sun's just gone behind those clouds. It's really quite chilly, to be fair, when that sun goes in. That wind is quite cool. It's not picked up yet, as you can tell. I've still only got that one fish. Obviously I lost that one about half a pound, which I'm trying not to dwell on. I'm trying to stay positive that I'm going to get at least another fish. It's just, other than that, the only other fish I've seen caught is the lad on my right. Just after I caught my fish, he caught one similar size, and that's it. We haven't seen any more fish. Trev on my left still not even had a single bite. So it's we're very much in winter mode. It feels like that, you know. But I'm still trying to stay quite positive with the feed. I don't want to just cut all the feed out and just fish with just ground bait, or be way negative. Because this is one venue where I've seen multiple times where in that last hour, even the last 30 minutes, they can switch on, you know. And so if that's going to happen, I want to at least make sure I've got some bait out there. You know, I don't want to be super negative, because if it's suddenly going to switch on, then I could miss an opportunity there. So I'm keeping some bait going in. That 20-metre line's been a waste of time, other than just using it to rest this longer line, which I'm currently on at the moment. Well, I've literally just turned the camera off from that last update for you. We're into the final 90 minutes, and 1, 2, 3 pegs down to my left, I've just caught a bream. A proper bream. It looks, you know, probably 2.5, well, 3 pound, I'd say, by the looks of it from here. And that's actually the first peg in this section coming this way. So, as I was saying, you know, things can change, and often do in these later stages. That's the first bite he's had as well. So he's definitely winning this section now with 1 bream. I could be second, possibly third, depending on what the fish on my right is going to weigh. But there's loads of time to get more, hopefully. We are hoping it's going to switch on and improve. Well, there's a second. Not quite big enough to contend with the 3 pounder that's just been caught down there, but that's 2 fish now. I just feel as though, if you know, the way that I'm fishing, I just think that if a bream's going to come in, then you'll pick it up on whatever you're fishing. I'm not putting loads of bait out there, but I am feeding. I'm making sure that there is some feed out there, just in case they do switch on. That was only out there 2 minutes, so I've got to be confident with the number of bites I've had, or the number of indications. It's miles more than anyone else here. I just need the stamp now. Obviously, now that there's a bream caught, I need a bream. That wind's dropped a little bit now, and I really think that the line I'm on now is the line where I'm going to catch anything. You know, whether it's another skimmer or a bream. But interestingly, the lad who's just had that bream down there, it looked as though it was on what a lot of people would refer to as their middle line. So it's that sort of, it looks as though it's at about 30 metres, something like that, which is interesting. But I haven't put that middle line in today. I'm only fishing 2 lines, 20 and 50. But at the minute, all my confidence is really in this 50-metre line. Well, this has only been out there just over a minute. Really positive bite. We're into that, well, there's exactly an hour left now. Really positive pull that time. Not seen any other fish caught since that bream down to my left. That's a bream. We found one. That's what we're after. It's perhaps not as big as the one that the lad had down there, but obviously I've got a couple of fish to go with that. Well, that's mega. That's encouraging, isn't it? With an hour to go. That wind's back again, straight in his face. Bang on the clip. This rod and reel setup's been absolutely spot on today. The first time I've actually used this combination, because the rods have only just come out and the reels have literally only arrived a week ago. So it's the first time I've used this combination, and for this sort of fishing, certainly fishing at 50 metres, which is not mega long range or anything like that, but obviously in these conditions, especially when that wind was even stronger, you know, you just needed to like almost be overgunned to get there, especially with that wind coming in. If you can hit your clip harder to straighten that hook length out, then it's going to help reduce tangles as well.
Start it up.
Oh, that's a nice surprise. It's been out there 4 minutes. That was another good bite. Well, that's encouraging, isn't it? That's why I wanted to keep that bait going in. I didn't want to ease off too much, because if you ease off too much, I've done it before on here, if you ease off too much, you might catch one or two before that late spell, but then if they are going to feed late, or you're going to get one or two coming in, it's almost like if you've not fed enough, you're going to miss that visit. Well, that last 20 minutes has just been absolutely ridiculous. You know, out of nowhere, I've just caught 3 skimmers. Absolutely unbelievable. Like I said right before the match started, that it's amazing how things can change on here when you get into this last period. Even if you haven't done anything different, you know, it's just a time of day thing. And sometimes it's bream, sometimes it's, you know, other fish, skimmers, roach, but obviously those are smaller skimmers. But obviously in a section that's fishing like this, you know, I've ended up now, I've got something like, how many have I got now? 6 fish, maybe 7. Absolutely unbelievable. There's 30 minutes left, well, just under 30 minutes left now. I'm not going to come off this line. You know, it obviously seems like there's 1 or 2 fish out there now feeding. I don't know if that spell might be over now, I don't know, I might not catch any more, but generally, you know, the last 30 minutes, 20 minutes, it's almost a banker that there are going to be some fish caught in that period. Now, I might not catch them, but somewhere along this bank, somebody will catch in that last period something. Obviously, I'm hoping that's going to be me. I'm hoping there's still 1 or 2 fish out there. It's been about 10 minutes now since I caught my last fish. So I'm hoping I haven't just, you know, moved through. I have been staying quite positive with the food. To each cast I'm putting bait through, so I'm hoping they've stuck around. I haven't seen any more fish caught now in that last period. We've got that one lad down here on the first peg in our section who caught that big bream, or it looked like a big bream, and then 2 to my left I don't think have caught, and on my right he's got 1 skimmer, and so I'm hoping I'm in front at the minute, which I should be. Like I say, I haven't been watching everybody all day, but just got to try and catch anything. It's one of them days, you know. I don't just want to sit there with 2 worms on and wait for a big bream, because if there are skimmers there as well, I want to catch them as well, or I need to catch them as well. Well, we're into the final 20 minutes. This has only been out there 90 seconds. Beautiful bite, really positive bite. Not seen any other fish caught That wind's dropped a little bit as well, as you can probably tell. Another better fish. Well, that's just got better and better, hasn't it? Setting that line up. It's been a far better finish than I expected. Especially when there aren't any other fish being caught. There's definitely some fish out there. Just want to try and keep them there. Just try and keep putting fish in the net, and if any come along that are obviously a proper size bream or whatever, then so be it. But at the minute it just doesn't look like they've just not fed today. We've only heard of probably 2 or 3 bream actually caught. All the rest have just been smaller skimmers. Well, we are into the final 5 minutes, and Trevor at the next peg hasn't had a bite all day. He's just stood up and cast his feeder out and just simply said, "That's not coming back without a bream on it." And look what's happened. He's up one with 5 minutes to go, and it's a bream as well. We see it happen so many times on here. Trevor's done it so many times. It's just, you know, it's a time of day thing. That's what it is, and that's why you've just got to keep going and going and going, especially when you're not after a big weight. You know, you could literally get 2 in the last 2 casts, and that can be enough. It's got time for one more cast. You what, Trev? Has it come over here, has it? Right. Haven't seen any other fish caught this last period, all the way down to my right. I'm not saying there hasn't been any caught, but yeah, we haven't seen any more caught, so we don't really know what's going to happen until the scales arrive. But looks like it's a good fish the way he's playing that one. Be nice if this went round and I caught another one. This will be the last cast of the day unless it goes round. It's really going to be interesting to see the weights, you know. Just heard that further all the way down this long bank, lots of anglers have struggled, but you know, there's going to be odd pockets of fish, and we haven't heard anything about the woods over there. We haven't heard about how that's fished. We expect that to have fish better, like it usually does, even when it doesn't fish to its potential. Well done, Trev. He was just saying that he's never ever blanked, or he can't ever remember blanking on here. That's a good fish as well. So he's back in love with the venue again now. But that's what it is. That's why you've just got to keep going and going and going when it's like this. You know, this is one of them venues where you just, more often than not, you're only chasing, you know, 3 or 4 fish maximum, you know, and you obviously can get them in the last 20 minutes when it's like this. Well, that's it, done. I've no idea if I've done enough. I hope I have done enough. I don't know how big that fish is going to weigh what Trevor's just had. It looks a very heavy fish to me. I haven't really been paying much attention to the fish that I've had whilst I'm over the moon with the numbers. I mean, who wouldn't be in comparison to what else has been caught? At the end of the day, it's all down to the weight, isn't it? It's about what they're actually going to weigh. So I'm hoping I've done enough, obviously, on day one to go into tomorrow's match with 1 point. But obviously we're going to find out. Trevor's smiling again now. He's happy. He's back in love with the venue. Well done, mate. Yeah, I mean, tomorrow's going to be could be very different. I could draw at the bottom end of this bank tomorrow, right at the bottom end, which I expect will be similar fishing to this. However, I could also draw in the woods tomorrow, which can be completely different, and that can throw up some big surprises. So I'm going to get some gear packed away. I'm not staying overnight for this competition, so I'm heading back home again tonight and then back again in the morning. But it's going to be interesting to see what these weigh, and I think the approach wise, I think you've got to say that it was right. I think for the number of bites that I've had and the way that I've fished, when we realised it was going to be hard. But at the end of the day, it's down to the result, so we'll find that out as soon as I get weighed in. Well, they've gone £7.1, which I've got to admit I didn't pay any attention whatsoever to my weight today, because I just want to get the fish in the net and get back out and try and get another one, and that's what I've done. So £7.1. Thankfully it's won the section. Over the moon with that, to be fair. I was hoping that the second skimmer that I hoped that lost at the net wasn't going to cost me, and thankfully it hasn't. So there have been 3 blanks, I think, in this section somewhere, and second best weight in the section is, I've weighed £7.1, and there's a tie on £3.6, and that is Trevor at the next peg, who had that one last cast. In the very last cast, he's had one £3.6, and then the other bream that was caught earlier on, further down at the other end of the section, has weighed exactly £3.6 as well. So the main thing for me is 1 point. So that puts me one of the leaders going into day 2 tomorrow. But it's been an interesting match, and considering there's been so many blanks, I can't really complain with the number of bites I've had. I think I ended on, I don't know how many fish it was, 9 fish, was it, something like that? So on a day like today, I can't really complain at that. The only thing is here, and it's something I've talked about before, is that, and it's something to bear in mind tomorrow and the following day, day 3, is when the tip goes round, you know, the fish could be as big as your hand, or it could be £4, you know, and the only way to get round that is to fish with big baits. But unfortunately, you know, by fishing with big baits, you're going to miss out on those skimmers like the ones that I've had today. So it can often be a fine balancing act, you know, fishing a bait that's not too small, but one that's still going to appeal to 8-ounce fish as well, if that makes sense. So that puts me on 1 point. I'm looking forward to getting home now. Got Dad in the van. We're going to go and get something to eat on the way home, and I'll see you in the morning for day 2.